We made the documentary here in 2003, and I brought the producer that came, was a big boxing fan actually, and he came out of here. He said, "I've never seen anything like it in my life." He said, "This is exactly what it should look like. If you had someone that said, what does a boxing gym look like? You could take them here. If it was in the diary, you know, in a dictionary under boxing, this is what it would look like." And I said, "Yeah, you're right, Mark. Yeah."
Right?
Yeah. That's how much he thought of this place. You know, in a tiny little place like this has just done so much for so many people. It's changed people's lives beyond. And not just the big names as well, you know, the fellas that have come here and they've met other people who've got jobs, and they've, you know, I go to the Holy Family, I quite like, I always buy tickets to go to their shows, you know, I'll give you a little job, and, you know, it's just changed people's lives. You know.
See, for by all that, a big plus for them was from the Troubles, that we would call the Troubles.
Trouble times, yeah.
And when that came in, and that would have been in the 60s.
60s, yeah.
The kids the rest of the clubs all closed, but this one kept going, and the kids kept coming from all over. You know, they were coming in from the Shangle, and there was a reporter come in one day, came in from the Zone, and he said that. Strange thing, he said, "I'm coming down Clifton Street and I seen this bunch of kids walking in, teenagers like." And he says they crossed over from which would be Protestant Loyalists. He says, and then they came right on the Dondon band came in here, and he says they followed them. He says, "What are they doing?" He says, "They're members of the club. That's what they're training." He couldn't believe it.
No.
Now, he flew in from the States, and he was coming around, and he accidentally bumped.
It doesn't matter who you were coming in here, because we don't ever speak about religion. It's got nothing to do with it. Black, white, no matter who you are. You're in here for the boxing. That's it.
The boxing, eating football, see football jerseys and stuff like that.
Sign we used to have here, and you come through the door. No politics, no football, no
Yeah, that's right. No football gear.
No, nothing. Just boxing.
That's it.
That's how it should be. Yeah, brilliant.
That's Tyson Fury and Rand Burnett, former bantamweight champion. We're all heading to the States. It's myself, my dad, Burnett, Tyson. All heading to America.
And he's fighting Usyk, isn't he?
Yep, he's fighting.
What do you think of that?
Oh, big good fight. Big good fight. The only one I think. The only person I think will beat Tyson Fury is himself. I can't see anybody out there beating him.
No. You know, that was the wall there. Well, there's the three of them there. Tyson Fury. Give me a wee lad there.
It's a wee Tyson Fury. It's a bit big. What do you think of him fighting Usyk now?
He'd be all right, Ryan, you know, because he'd be in the win anyway. You can bet that.
Yeah.
Fraser and Marvis, have you seen that one?
I have. Was that here?
Where? I was in Sam's restaurant, that one. But that one, the rest of them, these are in Philadelphia.
Joe Frazier.
Fraser and Fraser. Every year for 20 years, he never misses. He came down.
For 20 years?
20 years. Every year he had to travel from Philadelphia, down to Philadelphia, then down to Atlantic City. Never missed it, you know.
And the Olympic rings of all the people from here that have made the Olympics?
They made the Olympics. That's 2, 4, 5, 7.
And that's Paddy, isn't it? Paddy Barnes.
Paddy had 3 of them.
3 Olympics.
4, and I done 4. I done 4, but I was coach for the Olympic teams.
Amazing. Steeped in history. It's been a while.
That's good. Good when someone comes. Now, do you see that one there?
Yeah.
That one there is a club side. Do you know who we boxed?
No.
The Combined Forces champions, the paratroopers.
Wow.
They sent it. They challenged us. Their corner
Who won?
over to me. Well, we whitewashed. They were whitewashed 11-0. Oh, that's it. When the colonel came to me, and one of our officials had sent them over. They were looking for a competition to get ready for their Europeans or whatever championships they were getting ready for. Right. No, it was the combined forces. They were already champions. They were defending their title and they were looking for a competition. So they were over in Ireland and they were boxing different ones. But then when I was down in Drogheda one night, he came over to me and he said Albert D. Pritchard sent him over, says, "That's a fellow over there. They have a good club. They'll have kids that will boxing." So and when he came over, he says to me, "Any chance of the competition between the club and the Parries?" I said, "Certainly, no problem." I had no hesitation of agreeing with it. So he says, "All out of the one club?" And I said, "Yeah, all out of the one club." So that was them. Every one of them right down, and you see these 4 kids at the bottom. They were just coming on. They're 4 internationals and Commonwealth Games champions of the world. But their whole team won. And it was downstairs with boxing. Did you see downstairs?
No, not yet.
I'll show you. See? Everyone on that wall has boxed for Ireland. They've got their international test, right?
Yeah.
So they were all Irish internationals. And there's another row which is missing. You know, the different ones coming in from America and different parts. They're souvenir hunters, but they always take it, especially if they know somebody on it.
Yeah.
And we had a character who was a heavyweight, Patsy Reed, a fun guy, but a good heavyweight and what a puncher. But they all loved him. But it ends up his foot keeps getting stuck. And every time he comes in, he'll look up. "Jerry, where's my foot?" Patsy, somebody has stolen again. Oh,
They keep nicking his photo.
They keep nicking his. His is the one goes though. And but there's been another row of them, like, you know. There's another row of them. See, young there. They were all champions, all them kids. You know who that is, don't you? Did they tell you?
That'd be Mr. Fury. Tiny.
Who? It's another world champion. Rand Burnett.
It's a massive difference.
Look at all the says in there, right? Rand Burnett, he's world champion too. Oh yeah.
What was Tyson like in his early years?
No problem. The only problem we had with Tyson was just always remember, see that far beam?
Yeah.
Had to watch him. He had a tip. He was that tall even then, or he would have hit that for his head, you know. But he was just skimming it down. So now, and then they told me after that, he said he either grew 3 or 4 inches out there. Wasn't maybe 2, but he was looking. He had to watch that there, or he would have hit his head, you know.
It's the most prestigious award you can ever get in sport, that.
I was the first in Irish history sport, any sport, of getting that one.
To the fella that was listening to the programme this week,
Yeah.
there was a fella listening to it, and he thought, I've got to get this bloke in. So you went with your daughter, do you remember? Right. And they started saying, and you said, "Cool, this fella sounds a nice bloke, doesn't he? Look all the things he's done, this fella, in the boxing as well. Why is he?" "It's you idiot." Then
You didn't know.
He straight after.
I didn't know.
He
You didn't know.
No, we had to surprise him. He wouldn't have gone. He don't like all that. He don't like that. You liked him though, didn't you?
Oh, he was good.
Figure Ray Robinson. He's the man. 214 fights.
That was the last photo, and that one taken off, and he was going by then.
Yeah, sure.
He was,
Okay, so we're very lucky today to be over in the legendary Jerry Story's gym, the Holy Family, over in Belfast. Absolute pleasure, sir, to meet you and to be in your gym.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure speaking to you and explaining a few things to you. That's my pleasure.
Well, listen, explain a little bit to our viewers and the people who watch the channel, you know, all the boxing fans, just what Holy Family means to the community and to yourself.
Well, I joined the Holy Family in when I was 10 years of age then, because you had to be 11 before you could get to the championships. And well, I'm going 86 now.
Never.
So I'm with them. I'm here since then, you know. So, but then I had to step down and retire from boxing when I was about 17 or 18, because I have what you call a lazy eye. Actually, it's exactly the same problem that Joe Frazier had. I have this right eye of mine, and it's only partly sighted. So if I had kept boxing, I could be blind. Well, my mother done a lot of worrying any time I went out and any time I was boxing. So it ended up then that Jim McStubby was he was number 2 rated in the world as a flyweight, came back into the 30s. Great fighter, great boxer. And he schooled me, but then he schooled me to be a coach. After, when I was about 18 or 19, had to retire, and that was it. He told me about my mother and what she was going through every time that I went out to box. She was worrying a lot. So then I had to stop, but he said, you won't be lost. He wanted me in for to give him a hand, which I did, and I'm here ever since that.
We can see your gym is absolutely steeped in history. Olympians, world champions, even the current world champion Tyson Fury was here. Just tell us a little bit about the early days, maybe, you know, when the troubles were around in these parts. Tell us how it affected your gym and what you did.
Well, what you've done, you're asking me about the troubles. So, okay, as I said, we're going from 1944, I think it was, 1942. Club hasn't been closed since that, and we've kept going since that. But then the trouble started. I think that's what you're yeah. So when the trouble started, we kept going. The club never closed, and the boys that were coming in here, the team that was boxing here, completely mixed. You know, any religion, any colour, the club never closed their doors. But when things got pretty bad, the rest of the clubs all closed. We were the only ones going. So that was all right, and we kept going. But we went around different clubs, maybe helping them to do a wee bit of coaching. But the Loyalist Army Council, one time, they sent for me on the phone and invited me up. So I said, okay, and they said, we'll send a car out for you. So I said, no, it's okay, I'll go the way I always go. I'll walk, I'll dander up. And that's what I done. So when I went in, they were having a full army council of the paramilitaries then, and they invited me in, sit down. So we had a chat, and they said to me they wanted me to start coaching their teams in the cages in Long Case.
Wow.
So they were in all sentenced, a lot of them doing life. Most of them were all in doing life. And if you agree, Jerry, to do that, you only have to make one agreement with us. And I said, well, okay, what is it? And they said, anybody annoys you one way or another while you're doing it, while you're coaching our boys, if anybody offends you, inside or outside, they're in trouble. He says, you only have to agree to that. We will look after them. So I said, well, then that's all right. No problem with that. And that's the way that happened. So then after that, the Republican side, on the same day, they wanted to talk to me too. And it was training.
It was a busy day.
It was a busy day for me. But it wasn't fun in a way. The governor was with me, but they wouldn't speak to the governor. Dusty Spence, John Rogers, they had to talk to me about the loyalist side of it. But they told me they're not recognising the governor of the prison at all. They wouldn't. They were only speaking to me, and I had to answer them. And the governor had to stand and just listen to what was going on. And when we went to the Republican side, exactly the same. They wouldn't recognise it. So even while we were doing that, it ended up with, on the loyalists then, they'd have said to me, how's the boys doing? Now, they meant, how was the Republicans doing on the other side of their fences? And I told them, I says, look, the only thing is we're having problems getting equipment in for them. You know, they're finding it harder than the G's were, and they're getting their own gear. So they said to me, I tell you what, Jerry, take our gear, or tell the police to take our gear and bring it over to them when they're training, as long as they bring it back for us when you're in with us the next night. So they were lending their stuff to the Republican and the train, and that's the way it was going in the cages, what we call the cages, you know, in the guys.
Well, listen, let's talk about your gym. You've had some famous names here, amateur and professional. Just tell us, run us through a few of those that we might recognise.
Okay, if I can remember them, right? I'm not trying to be funny, but you had Q Russell, who's with me from he was, I would say, 7-year-old. There's a story that would take me all day talking about him. But you had him, and you had Sam, the son, British champion. You had Michael Ayres, you had Jerry Hamill, a string of them.
And more recognisable to the UK, for example, you've got Mr. Frampton, Mr. Fury, Mr. McGuigan. Tell us about these guys.
That little guy, Tyson Fury.
What was he like?
Tyson's always a character. Very good. Should have been, to me, he should have been at the Olympic Games when he was with us. No doubt about that. He should have been. He should have been an Olympian. Okay, and then there was Frampton Card. He went up, and there's no problem bringing him. He along with Billy, was done a good job for him, getting him ready. Billy McKee was one of the trainers in their old club. You had McGuigan, you had Michael Ayres, you had string of them. I wouldn't remember half of them, stringing them out there, you know. Yeah. So I don't want to offend any of them by leaving their name out, but there's plenty of them, all world champions, you know, that type of thing.
And of course, many Olympians, including Paddy, who's behind us. Well, he's done 3, I think.
Paddy done. Was it not 4?
Is it 4? I don't know. Ask him. Is it 4 or 3?
3. 3? Is that all? He's lost count.
Just tell us about, you know, what his experiences were like over there in the Olympic Games.
Who, Paddy?
Yeah.
Paddy lost a lot of contests at the start of his career. He could have, but when he came to us, I think it was. There's a rumor going around he had lost nearly 20 of them. You know. Then always when he came in, he was dead keen. So when we worked with him, great listener, great learner. Then as he started winning County Antrim, Ulster, National, then Commonwealths, Europeans, and the Olympics. I think he'd done 3 or 4 Olympics, you know. So there's no problem with that. Now there's a string of them, as I said, the like of Michael Ayres and the like of Tyson, the Q Russell. You know, there's a load of them, and I know I'm going to leave some away. And then you had the like of Jerry Hamill and them, you know. But it's a nice to be, maybe have many that you do leave them out. You know, you do forget them. They'll have to understand that when we're talking to you, these names just don't come flying into your head right away.
Well, they are all up on your walls for anyone to see that's lucky enough to be invited.
Anytime you come in, the Hall of Fame, what they call the Wall of Fame. You know, Paradise Row is they have to box for Ireland, international vest before they go onto that wall. And that goes for officials and all, you know.
Now tell us, you told us a story slightly earlier about someone's picture getting nicked off of there. Tell me.
Patchy Reid. Patchy was he's a colourful Irish heavyweight, even an Irish international at heavyweight. But a character. There's some stories I could tell you, but I wouldn't even start going down them. But Patchy was a character. But the Souvenir Hunters comes on now. What do you say, Paradise Row? There's 2 or 3 rows missing. Where Souvenir Hunters coming in and taking the photos when there's nobody here and getting away with them. So they always steal Patsy's. And every time he comes in, very seldom now, but when he comes in, where's my Jerry, where's my photo? It's away, you know.
Funny. Now, listen, you've been all over the world boxing with all kinds of boxers, and you struck up a nice relationship with a certain, is it Joe Frazier by any chance?
Oh, for goodness sake, Joe. Joe was with me for 20 years.
Wow.
Every year. Never let us down. Now, if he was living, he wouldn't be worrying about me telling you this now, but he had the same complaint what I had with the eye.
Right.
And he fought, and when he fought Ali that night, he couldn't see. Remember the last fight they had? Blood and Thunders. So what he done, I said to him one time, Joe, how did you get away with that? As I say, 20 years he kept coming down. Every time I was in the States, Philadelphia, Wildwood, New Jersey, Atlantic City. Joe was there. He would have come down from Philadelphia right down. But I had to say to him, tell me this, how did you get away with your eye? You were that bad. He said, well, what I done was I covered my eye.
Yeah.
I read out, went down the board, A, B, C, D. He said, so then I'm going to change it. They said, right now, the other eye. He put the other hand over the same eye. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That was that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That man.
That's how we got away.
And he got away with that for years.
And you didn't.
All right. Well, I never attempted that one. You know?
And listen, you've touched that you had Tyson Fury here. Of course, he's the world champion boxer in the heavyweight division and has been for some time. He's always struggled a little bit with certain things off the field, but he's an incredibly nice guy and an incredibly talented boxer.
Oh, yes. And great personality. He always had a great personality, but was always straight and always very, very to the point. But I told you the truth. There was never no messing about with Tyson. But great kid, yeah. He could hardly get onto them. But see that beam? He hardly getting onto it when he was sparring. But he wouldn't get onto it now because he was telling me the last time, about a year ago when I was speaking to him, that he had grew another couple of inches. That was then.
So he could be 7 foot now.
Well, this was a few years ago that he did said it, you know. Oh, yeah.
And what do you think of the fight against Usyk? Because that is the ultimate fight, isn't it, in the heavyweight division?
Look, I always said Tyson could be going in with King Kong and he'll be going in to win. No matter who he goes in with, he'll be going in to win. And he will. He could go on and on because he has that, and he has that massive heart. His heart's as big as himself, so that gives you an idea of what he's like.
Who do you think will actually beat him? Do you think he'll ever be beaten?
I don't think so. You know, it's up to himself when he calls it a day, but the way he's going to be there for quite a while. He will be. He has been there for quite a while, but he's still moving on.
Well, listen, this is steeped in history. You've told me many, many stories already, and I'm sure there's many, many more. But I know you're a busy man and you've got things to do. We just want to thank you very much for inviting us into your home and showing us what it's like in Belfast. And I mean, what an amazing place. And, you know,
we could go on, and this club could tell you a lot of stories. A lot of personalities and a lot of different personalities that come in and out of it. There's only, we stick the rule is in here, there's no politics, no swearing, and no, if you wear a vest, it's got to be a boxing vest. No football or any other sport because of different trouble and different things can come out of that. And we will keep that. We keep the swearing from whenever we were in it. Some of the roughest characters in the country could have been in and out of here, but they never swore. And that goes back to an old guy called John Sweeney. And in 1948, he would have been there, and if anybody, one of the hardest men in the country, slipped up one night, wanted to hit the punch bag, and came off the punch bag, and it was F that, you know?
Yeah.
And all he heard was, John was the books, no, collecting the Jews, and all he done was, now, I met Patsy McCauley, he went in on, he had the nickname of Coco. And I met Patsy just a few years back now, and he come back 40 or 50 years, maybe 60 years, and he would he said to me, in Alexander Park, when we were walking, he said, John Sweeney, Jerry, one night I went to punch the punch bag. He says, I threw a punch at the punch bag and missed it. Went off it, missed it. And Patsy said, F it. And all he heard was John, the pen. He said he never forgot that all his life. He said, John could have had him a kick and it wouldn't hurt him as much as what he done when he just went. He says, I hope you still keep that rule.
It's phenomenal to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
No,
and we do wish you and all your boxers the best of health and best of luck going forwards.
No, thank you very much, and the same to yourself.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Good luck.